For a long time now, and perhaps especially since 2020, grocery prices have been one of those things people track with a certain level of bubbling anger and/or dread. It feels like stores are relentlessly hiking prices each week. And, in some cases, they have been. So, when Walmart, the biggest retailer in America, started replacing paper price tags with digital ones, the reaction was more or less what you'd expect. Maybe this is just about better store tech, or maybe the shelf just became something that works against customers. Now, the old system was slow, manual, and at times annoying for staff. Paper was friction. It slowed the whole machine down, made repricing labor-intensive, and sometimes protected shoppers because it made the idea of constant price changes unfeasible for management. Now, Walmart says roughly 2,300 US stores already use digital shelf labels, and it expects the system to go chain-wide within the next year. So, this is clearly not a pilot program anymore, but a large-scale operational shift. What began as a retail experiment is being adopted at scale, and that will change how suppliers, competitors, regulators, and shoppers view the technology. Now, on one level, a digital shelf label is just a small screen replacing paper. Walmart says the labels sit on a closed system, don't interact with shoppers, and don't collect customer data. Fair enough, if true. But the issue remains that the price display is networked and updating is instant. Walmart has said the system lets staff update more than 120,000 items in minutes instead of spending around 2 days changing paper tags by hand. If price changes become that easy, then the company is not paying for convenience alone. They immediately save a load of money on labor costs too. But speed also changes the incentive structure for Walmart. Paper tags made frequent repricing expensive and visible. Digital tags make it cheap, centralized, and very easy to do. And that enables a rollout of so-called dynamic pricing with narrower, faster, and less obvious pricing moves. Retailers know that saying efficiency sounds responsible, while saying pricing flexibility sounds more suspicious. Now, Walmart has insisted that it's not using this tech to partake in surge pricing, where a retailer charges more for a product or service during periods of higher demand. But that's the response you'd expect as the public voices its concerns about this tech. In a world where governments are introducing more surveillance tools by the day, people don't want to worry about being taken advantage of by surveillance pricing as well. And consumers aren't being paranoid here. Walmart's rollout has already tied the digital tags to a wider debate about what live pricing software could enable next. Once every shelf is digital, shoppers naturally start asking what else management wants the system to do. That impacts markets beyond Walmart because dynamic pricing is already spreading into more categories as companies look for ways to protect margins without across-the-board increases. The grocery store just happens to be where the debate gets a bit more heated. People might just about tolerate pricing shenanigans on things like airline seats or concert tickets, but they're far more sensitive when companies potentially mess with their cereal, eggs, or bottled water. But the trend is not staying inside grocery stores. In Australia, digital tags are now seen in hardware stores, bottle shops, and pharmacies. So, this is not just one company modernizing their shelves. The shelf itself is becoming a live system, and that has implications for what a price has truly become. Now, let's rewind a bit because the basic idea of digital price tags isn't actually new. Bell Labs published work on an electronic price label radio system back in 1996. Retailers had already been complaining about manual shelf pricing being labor-intensive and prone to error. Adoption in the US was slower for a long time because US stores carry huge numbers of stock-keeping units or SKUs, which essentially just means they have loads of products, and every item needs its own digital label. That made the upfront costs particularly steep. Europe moved faster because the economics and rollout conditions proved more favorable early on. In Norway, one grocery chain, Rema 1000, has used electronic shelf labels to change a product's price up to 6 times in a single day, especially around competitive periods and holidays. So the question is no longer whether the system can do this. It plainly can, and at scale. Albert Heijn, the largest supermarket in the Netherlands, uses AI-driven markdowns on fresh produce approaching expiry, with discounts changing throughout the day to sell stock before it becomes waste. And to be fair, that's a genuinely good use of flexible pricing. But that's how this stuff usually enters the store. First as waste reduction, better information, and less paper. But later, the incentives can change how this tech is used. Helpful use cases soften resistance. Once shoppers get used to a live price display for the nice reasons, retailers have already installed the infrastructure for the, well, less nice reasons too. And that acceleration now looks pretty rational from management's side. Labour costs are higher, AI pricing tools are better, and electronic labels finally fit into a wider push for automation. In other words, retailers now see it as part of the operating system that runs the modern store. And that operating system is even more important now that stores double as mini fulfillment centres too. Instacart's carrot tags can flash shelf labels so staff filling online orders can find items faster. It also shows us that the label is doing logistics work, not just displaying a price to store shoppers. So, the US debate has shifted. There's no more concern about whether digital shelf labels could work. The focus now is how much pricing flexibility and central control retailers can add before shoppers become uneasy about the behaviour steering tech hardwired into the shelf. Now, keeping up with major economic shifts like this one is difficult, but fortunately, there's an easy way to stay on top of it all. Simply sign up for the Coin Bureau Finance weekly newsletter. It's absolutely free and it breaks down the key moves across markets, macro, politics, and more. All you have to do is click the link in the description or scan this QR code. Okay, back to the video. Now, there's no denying that there are real benefits here. For retailers anyway. They will present this tech as a push for fewer pricing mistakes, faster markdowns, less paper waste, easier replenishment, and an improved online shopping experience. But even through that lens, every one of those benefits has a second meaning, and that second meaning is usually more control over the consumer, labour, timing, and margins. Let's first consider price accuracy. That just means the shelf matches the register more reliably. But tighter accuracy also means central control, fewer delays between head office decisions and store execution, and fewer pockets where things accidentally work in the shopper's favour. The same goes for fulfillment. Instacart's chain-wide launch with Schnucks used electronic shelf labels so pickers could light up the exact item they needed. Better speed and accuracy for online orders? Yes, but it also shows that the physical aisle is being redesigned around labour productivity and software-assisted movement. Loyalty is another big factor. Co-op's newer shelf labels can push shoppers straight into membership sign-up and member pricing from the shelf edge itself. So the tag is no longer just showing the price. It's actively nudging you towards the retailer's app, identity system, discount ecosystem, and future data trail. And when retailers start pairing labels with AI-driven cameras and precise in-store locationing, the shelf becomes part of a much larger system. Carrefour's official rollout of this tech in France stated that shelf infrastructure will be tied into vision systems, analytics, execution, product availability, and eventually a lot more automated decision-making. Revenue is, of course, a big part of this too. Retail media is one of the fastest growing ad businesses around, with forecasts showing it surpassing TV ad revenue by 2028. So, when retailers digitize the shelf, it's reasonable to ask if they're building a pricing tool, an ad platform, or both. Kroger and Microsoft's 2019 Edge Shelf pitch gives us some insight here. Even back then, the firms talked about selling digital advertising space to brands and presenting personalized offers and ads using video analytics and customer demographics. That's a bit more than just digital price tags. The concept of this connected shelf opens up all kinds of new profit streams. And when you hear the term new profit streams, that's executives saying the return is supposed to come from more than labor savings and fewer paper labels. The shelf is being upgraded into something monetizable. Imagine a store where shoppers can get personalized icons and guided shopping in the aisle. Some might say that's useful, but others would say it's a bit creepy. The shelf label ceases to be a passive display and becomes a digital endpoint inside a consumer surveillance system. Some US lawmakers have voiced concerns about Kroger's electronic shelf for this very reason. The suspicion is about much more than the digital screen. There's growing concern about where the connected shelf could lead once the system has refined pricing, targeting, shopper data, and automation. Senators Elizabeth Warren and Bob Casey publicly warned in 2024 that electronic shelf labels could enable harmful dynamic pricing and threaten privacy. So, even before the latest advancements in AI, the digital shelf has been recognized as more than just an innocent piece of store equipment. Now, it's worth noting that the strongest current US evidence does not definitively prove widespread grocery surge pricing after electronic shelf labels arrive. One 2025 working paper looked at more than 100 stores and found virtually no surge pricing before or after adoption. So, the honest skeptical case cannot start by pretending current evidence says otherwise. However, that caveat only gets you so far. The researchers in that paper noted that the study answers whether broad surge pricing happened in only one chain's data, and they did not study whether the capability matters. A technology can be underused today, but becomes strategically valuable in the future, especially once shoppers are already used to it. This is why legal scrutiny has kept building anyway. Bills introduced around the US now target surveillance pricing, data-driven pricing, and, in some cases, electronic shelf labels entirely. Lawmakers are clearly reacting to the shift itself, not just to a proven record of abuse, because the tech is moving so fast. The patents on this stuff make the capabilities clear. One Walmart dynamic pricing filing shows they can trigger price changes by things like a shopper's proximity to a physical store. And the company continues to implement machine learning to forecast demand and recommend prices. Walmart says the tools are not about surge pricing, and maybe that stays true. But once a retailer is patenting automated pricing and machine learning price recommendations while digitizing every shelf, well, people are going to connect the dots. Walmart's defense was that some patents are for markdowns, while others keep humans in the loop. That is worth noting, but it's also not especially comforting. Human oversight inside a software-driven pricing system can still translate to a lot more algorithmic influence on shoppers. And the political response is becoming more concrete. Senators Ben Ray Lujan and Jeff Merkley introduced the Stop Price Gouging in Grocery Stores Act of 2026. This would ban corporations from using new technologies to increase grocery prices. So the fear here is more than fringe internet speculation. And the pushback isn't just coming from politicians. The Grocery Workers Union has launched a national campaign against surveillance pricing, tying AI-driven price setting to both consumer harm and job quality. Now that store tasks are becoming software tasks, the natural follow-on conversation after price surging is about people's jobs. And states are moving on this too. A New Jersey proposal would restrict personalized algorithmic pricing and temporarily block large food retailers from using electronic shelf labels while regulators study the issue. Business groups there have also pushed to narrow the language rather than defend the technology without limits. The FTC has said companies use a wide range of personal data to set individualized consumer prices, which means the concern is not just a tag on a grocery shelf. It's the possibility of shelf tech eventually plugging into a much bigger pricing machine. And the FTC did not stumble into this topic by accident. In 2024, it started asking companies to explain surveillance pricing products built around consumer characteristics, location, and behavior. So regulators are now proactively looking at the whole ecosystem, not waiting around to see what happens. But there's also a colder, more academic reason to stay skeptical. One 2023 operations paper on time-based grocery pricing found the model is always beneficial for stores, pushes stores to adopt, and can raise both peak hour and normal hour prices without improving consumer welfare. The incentives driving this aren't mysterious. And speaking of incentives, the first secondary market in all of this is more likely to be information than actual grocery resale. If timing becomes even more important, then markdown apps, price trackers, store comparison tools, and shoppers who learn the system all get an edge. Now, Walmart has been in the headlines recently, but the global rollout of digital pricing is bigger than any one chain. Carrefour plans to digitalize all of its hypermarkets and supermarkets in France by 2030 with next-generation shelf labels and AI-driven cameras. The store model is being rebuilt for our digital age. Over in the UK, meanwhile, Morrisons announced that it will roll out electronic shelf labels across all 497 of its stores, making it the first large UK supermarket group to digitize pricing across its whole estate. Again, this is a trend that simply isn't stopping. There's no appetite for reversing things, and it's becoming standard equipment already. Co-op is doing the same across roughly 2,400 stores, with the extra twist that the labels can instantly communicate member savings. And that shows us how digital pricing blends into dynamic loyalty pricing. One price is no longer necessarily the only price being presented in the aisle. The next wave of this movement isn't limited to food. DM, one of Europe's biggest pharmacy chains, is deploying digital shelf labels with AI-powered computer vision and real-time locationing. So, if you're wondering which industries are next, it makes sense to look at any category that has lots of SKUs, tight margins, and frequent promotions. Latin America is following suit. Walmart Mexico is expanding the connected store platform across Walmart Express locations by the end of 2026, with supercenters planned after that. This tech has comprehensively gone international, and it seems all but guaranteed to become the new normal. And adjacent to grocery, the model is being seen in places like booze retail too. Dan Murphy's completed a national rollout across all its branded stores in Australia. So, combine that with the hardware store and pharmacy examples, and you can see where things are headed. Now, the biggest winners in all of this are the retailers with scale and the vendors selling the hardware and software. Brands also likely see this as an opportunity to buy more targeted shelf-level promotions, while there will be shoppers who are willing to spend the time to play the game. On the other hand, though, the likely losers are casual shoppers who aren't using a myriad of apps to play the system in their favor. And of course, if the fears around dynamic or surveillance pricing are justified, anyone who shops at the wrong place or time and pays the listed price. But at least the consumer-side tools scaling alongside this tech offer some real benefits. Services like Flash Food help stores move near expiry inventory instead of binning it. As price becomes more fluid, the people who watch for discounts, compare stores, and time purchases should do better than everyone else. Too Good To Go claims that Americans were saving more than 1 million meals a month through its app in 2025. And again, if pricing gets more fluid on the shelf, we can expect more apps and routines built around helping everyday people catch the best deals on markdowns. So, it's true that digital price tags are not altogether evil. They can be genuinely useful. But consumer skepticism on this is justified because big corporations don't spend money building live pricing infrastructure and retail data layers just to cut future costs. They promise they will only ever use this tech for the mutual benefit of themselves and their customers. But something tells us consumers will need to stay vigilant as this tech matures. But what do you think? Will digital pricing be used for the good of mankind, or are there more nefarious incentives driving the actions of these corporations? Feel free to get highly opinionated in the comments section. And if you want to learn about something that is guaranteed to force prices higher in the coming weeks and months, then you should watch this video on the world's fertilizer supply crunch right over here. That's all from me for today though, so as always, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one. This is Guy, signing off.